And kind folks, welcome to RPG with DBJ. I am your host, DBJ, and today, as you and your party travel down the road, there are people passing you. To a one, none of them a happy look on their face, their eyes downcast, a nervousness that is physically permeable in the air emanates from these passersby as they leave the town. And some you see are marked, or maybe they're wearing some kind of shawl or headdress, or maybe they are painted. But whatever it may be, each one that is marked seems to be surrounded by horror, death, um, an eminence of something that's going to happen in the future. And unfortunately, it might lead to their doom. Yes, today is the day of doom. Let's get an intro. All right, guys. So you guys know the rules here, right? It's the each day, the day of, whether it's a festival or a celebration. Really, it's just a prompt to get us started to into thinking about um, a concept, a prompt, and then of course we're going to shape our tabletop role playing experiences around the idea of this day of. Now, of course, does it have to be one day? No, you could take this idea, steal it, twist it, spread it around in your own setting. Does it have to be literally 24 hours? No. Or maybe it's off to the side in your world. But we're going to take this idea of the day of doom and find out, like, is this something you might want to add to the entire world, a culture in your world? Is this something that has been decreed by the gods in your world or something? It doesn't have to be, but it sure could be, right? So, and of course, we're going to define for yourselves and for us today, what is the day of doom? What does that mean to you? All right, so hello, everybody. Yeah, the game. Yeah, Vince says, for all those like DBJ who don't know the game, yes, the game Doom, the game is built around the idea that in 3 days the moon crashes onto the planet, and you have to rewind time constantly to accomplish, to accomplish anything. And um, we, you can have the Doom be as specific or undefined as you'd like. I mean, this could literally be a day of oracles. Yeah, that's a possibility. Yeah, yeah. I saw that with the Legend of Zelda. Yeah, um, it could be something predicted. What's the movie series? Oh, there's a whole movie series dedicated to individuals who've avoided death, and then the entire movie is how this ephemeral concept of death comes about and tries to bring about the death of the main characters one by one, and how the individuals try to avoid it. And for some reason, there's like 5 movies, and I can't think. Final Destination. Woo! There we go. Wow. It can't. I got it. I got it. Oh yeah. The the Final Destination movies are like um it basically like Rube Goldberg. How can we Rube Goldberg time manipulation, uh series. Yes, thank you there, M. It's great. Yeah, I'm sure you got it just when I didn't get it. But yeah, for me, like the doom could be a real thing, right? Like the doom could be like, hey, the moon's going to crash in 3 days. The gods will awaken. The Tarask will finally stomp across the battlefields and ravage the earth. The pits of hell will open up and swallow mankind. I mean, it could be anything like that. And but I think you could have some fun making it personal. Like maybe they're on the day of doom, everyone is just hoping and praying that it's not them, and they could be supernaturally marked. Everyone has, I don't know, their hands turn black from or something, or their eyes turn green, or they receive like almost callus like wounds on their body, open wounds or so. Like they could be marked supernaturally. There could be faithful individuals, those of the faith and religions who go around and kind of like read the auras of individuals to find out if they're going to be doomed, or or it could be psychological. Everyone thinks awakens with from a dream about in their own personal life. What is the doom in their life? Maybe a secret gets out, or something terrible happens. Maybe their business burns down or something. And this is the thought in their head, like almost like a fear. Doesn't necessarily need to be irrational, but it could be a fear in their head. And that fear in and of itself may be the thing that is driving them to perform certain actions, or they understand that, you know what, there's nothing really I can do about it. This is the you really can't see it. This is the Final Destination movie series, and yeah, and not a very good series. But if you see number 5, how it relates back to the first Final Destination, that was pretty slick. That that whole series was pretty slick. And let's go over here to there's the Wikipedia thing. Yeah. Is an American horror franchise that includes 5 films, 2 comic books, and 9 novels. And it is based on an unproduced spec script. Oh, by Jeffrey Reddick, originally written for the X-Files television series and was distributed by New Line Cinema. Wow, that's weird. A script written by an individual. Funny that they don't get paid what they're supposed to be getting paid to make great things. Um, and we've heard this before, the background. Final Destination was written by Jeffrey Riddick after hearing, quote, after having, quote, read a story about a woman who was on a vacation and her mom called her and said, don't take the flight tomorrow. I have a really bad feeling about it. The woman switched flights and the plane she was originally supposed to take crashed. Originally having written the script as an episode of The X-Files, Reddick decided to turn the script into a feature-length film at the behest of one of his New Line Cinema colleagues. After reading his spec script, New Line Cinema hired Reddick to write the screenplay. James Wong and Glenn Morgan were later brought on board to help with the script, making alterations to comply with their standards. It was based on the fateful flight TWA 800, specifically the 16 students and 5 adults of the Montoursville High School. Very cool. Very, 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 very cool. Okay, let's see what you guys have to say, my co-hosts. Um, Vincent, the first thing I thought about was Raven from the Teen Titans, who's basically Doom personified. Either that or just basically a very depressed person. But yes, yes, classically in the comic book series of Teen Titans, or later on the Titans, Raven could, she had precognitive abilities. It could sense if someone were to suffer some harm or doom or death or something like that. Mike says, doom is also commonly used as an abstract resource or clock to denote a timer or obstacle for the players. Great for Call of Cthulhu. Yeah, something almost like the famous Doom counter. Yeah, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like it could be countdown to Doom. And there's a role playing game I have that is it basically, instead of hit points in a way, it has a doom counter on it. So as you adventure along, you acquire further doom and level up advanced fifth edition. The Dungeons and Dragons cloned rules are have a doom condition that you can have where you walk around with a doom condition and it's like, oh no, your character is going to die, but you're around for like 2d12 hours to do a thing before you pass on. uh Shai says, Andrew had a unique idea for Doomsday in which the rapture was real and all true believer souls leave their bodies and go to heaven, leaving their physical bodies as nothing but nameless zombies. Ooh, that's pretty bad. That could be a thing. Maybe in the on the day of doom, and you could have any number of events that might happen unless people do a thing. This is very common in fantasy where a ritual must be enacted or a ancient artifact must be handled, words spoken over it, honor, destroy, or something. The classic fetch quest to go from A to B. Any of these things may happen, and especially if the Day of Doom only happens like once every 10 years or 50 years, you start to spread that time out, then people will forget about it. I mean, if it's 50 years, you're going to have people who live and die and are just like, I don't even believe in this Day of Doom thing. Sorry, heck, we've had horrible things happen throughout my own lifetime that today people were just shrug their shoulders like that never happened. And like, yeah, it did. What is there were multiple times we could have had we were a hair's width away from nuclear holocaust, and today people are just like, nah, not going to happen. Yeah, Vince says just having one makes horror games much more tense, especially if the doom is passed around like a hot potato, and like the party has doom, but each player character, I don't know, like contributes to it every time they do a thing, and you're like, well, we're going to have to roll that d20, and you have 3 doom points. If you roll a 1, 2, or 3, it happens. Morkborg does that. Morkborg, where literally it's like, oh yeah, every day roll a die, and if you roll a 1, uh, um, doom, literally the game ends. Uh, Doom happens. The world ends, and you're just like, what? Yeah, roll a d10, roll a 1, the game is over. And it kind of, that idea of doom, a mechanical number being in the background, especially like with how Morkborg uh, describes it and embraces the Lovecraftian horror of the adventuring world, that it kind of puts pressure on the players to keep going. Like, come on, let's keep going, keep going, keep going for the game ends. Vince says, as a guy who studied theology, I have to say that the concept of souls is not how people in the Bible thought. They get resurrected whole, body and soul is the same thing. Ooh. And yes, I know that is just an idea. Yep, yep, yep. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. Vince says the Day of Doom could also be something like the snap from Thanos, where are certain people, certain percentage of population just vanishes. There's a really disturbingly well written show called The Leftovers. And let's see. Yeah. Um, Pretty bizarre television series. And in this particular series, The Leftovers, it's, I believe it is it 2%? It was a mystery. Okay, here it is. The premise of The Leftovers starts 3 years after a global event called the Sudden Departure, the inexplicable simultaneous disappearance of 140 million people, 2% of the world's population, on October 14, 2011. Following that event, mainstream religions declined and a number of cults emerged, most notably the Guilty Remnant, a group of white clothed, chain smoking nihilists, and a cult led by Holy Wayne, a man who views himself as the second coming of Jesus Christ. The first season revolves around the Garvey family and their acquaintances in a fictionalized version of the town of Mapleton, New York. And Kevin Garvey Jr. is the police chief, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But Yeah, and on that show, they specifically, I know some people don't like Damon Lindelof and the school of mystery box writing, but uh, because in the television series, they told you up front, we will never show you how the people left, and we'll never tell you why they left, and that even made it even worse. Yeah, yeah. Dead Man says, yeah, like trying to get the ring to the get the one ring to Mount Doom to destroy it. Yeah, Mike Brennan says I think level up 5e books there is a Doom curse and it has the same wacky dice mechanic. Yep. You start rolling. You it, I don't have the rules in front of me, but essentially what ends up happening is the doom's going to happen, but you just keep rolling dice until the thing happens, and it's a it's a pressure mechanic to get you a player to do a thing because you don't have time to sit back and go, I don't know if I should sacrifice myself to do this thing, right? It's more like I better do it now or now or never, you know. Yeah, Vince the famous saying is, you don't have to be faster than the bear, just faster than your friend. Yep. And this could be similar to the Doom. How about something like a race to a certain place and everyone who does not make it dies and only a certain number can make it. Basically like a battle royale mixed with a race. Ooh. Now I was thinking of another literally a day of racing, but yeah, I mean it's possible that the population of your fantasy world, or maybe this section of it on the day of doom, it's like, why is everybody packing up? Why are people not packing up? You see them like stretching, flexing their calves and their glutes, and they're just like, whew, jumping up and down, stretching their neck out. Like, yeah, we got 24 hours to get from here to there. Once the I don't know, the bronze doors of Galathon or something in the mountain open up, we've all got to run there and get through the doors. Heck, there was a an episode of Speed Racer. For those who do not know, there was a in Speed Racer. There was a race. Let's see. Uh, um, in the Speed Racer cartoon, I remember there was a race where they had to race to a location where the mountain opened up and you had to, I don't know why there was a drivable pass through a mountain once every like 100 years or something, but um uh, through the series, let me see if we get this. I don't want the movie. There we go. I want images. So through for some reason they had to race through the mountain, and if you didn't race to the very end, the mountain would close in on you, and you'd be stuck in there for like 100 years or something. Pretty ridiculous. I loved it, and yeah, even like not really making fun, but even like you said, Vince, yeah, there was an element of doom will happen if you don't get from A to B, and I love timers like that because I I think sometimes we under stress the idea of doom being a thing not doom, but the idea of a timer where the players, because it's very easy for players to go like, oh, enemy in front of us. Let's roll dice, initiative. Let's pound it about the head and shoulders until it's dead or we're dead. But you might not have time to we might not have time to beat around the bush, right? Literally and figuratively, it's like, no, we gotta go. Um, you know, thank you, Paladin, thank you, Barbarian, for smiting and raging, but we don't have time for this BS. We gotta go. Yeah, Mike Marin says, looked it up, page 357. Thank you very much there, M Squared. Of Trials and Treasures. Doomed status effect. Character dies in 2d12 hours, which averages to 13, which amused me greatly. Yeah, it does. Yeah, yeah. 13 hours, you're dead. And there's literally a movie called 13 Hours. Oh, man. Is it possible that Doom is a angelized of done, an Old English and possibly Roric term for mountain. Hmm. It could be. I could see that because we human beings do that. Like it's very while it's very common in fantasy to name things what they are, the Red River, the tall mountains, the dark forests. The reality is that we actually name those things all the time. It just so happens that through language variations that we end up forgetting what the original language actually meant. So then eventually it's like, oh, that sounds exotic. It's like, yeah, it's not that exotic. It's literally the Snake River because it's shaped like a snake, right? Like it's things like that. So even though that's a very common trope in fantasy, it's used more commonly than a little bit even here. Yeah. So okay. So again, in this day of doom, like what does the doom mean? Is it possible that something could you give your players a premonition of the future? Like, for example, hey player, you're going to be attacked by, I don't know, a pack of displacer beasts. I don't know if they attack in packs, but I like displacer beasts, so I think that would be fun. Maybe there's a wizard that suddenly, literally imprinted upon their brain the words, the ancient text would disappear out their brain and they lose all their magic and they don't understand why. And maybe there's a great warrior that goes to challenge the person that slew their family, because families are always being slain, and that individual stabs them through the heart and withdraws the blade slowly, the green flame licking across their flesh as their enemy stands above their body and they pass out and stuff. And then you predict this in the future, and then through a series of events, will it happen? Will it won't happen? Will they try to avoid their fate? I mean, that's a very common trope amongst oracle telling, is someone learns their history and then they spend the entire time trying to figure out how to not let that thing happen. Another thing could be, if it's very difficult to let this happen to your player characters, is for the players to understand this is going to happen to a bunch of NPCs, and the NPCs or the MacGuffin or something. It's like the person, place, or thing doesn't want things to change, right? The shopkeeper that's like, I'm not shutting my place down. I'm not leaving the city. And the PCs are like, oh no, we're going to kidnap you and get you out of here because we know I don't know, the tavern's going to burn down and all your stuff in it, or that bandits will, I don't know, I'm sorry, a rival army is has been assembling on the horizon, and for some reason no one knew about it, and they're going to send an advanced force and whatnot, and the players are running around talking about the doom of everyone, and it could be that the players know and no one else knows it or even believes it, and they could be made out to be the bad guys until everyone realizes the truth of what they're saying. But a lot of times, even in present day, when people start screaming and yelling at the top of their lungs, figuratively or in reality, that something is about to happen and others don't believe their horror. And we often see this panic in people's faces because to them, they see this as happening far sooner than everyone else. If you were to tell someone that the earth is going to fall into the sun and then all life on earth would be dead before then, within 100 million years, we go, I mean, sure, should we worry about it? Yeah, but I mean, not now, not really. But as that creeps ever closer, the people of, once we spread outside of our own solar system, we'll be like, woo, glad we did that, because in 50,000 years, you know, because we are digital beings that have like copied ourselves living in Alpha Centauri or something like that, right? You might be like, wow, glad we left Earth, and we're going to have to figure out how to, I don't know, move Earth's orbit or something like that. I don't know about that. Let's see, you guys talk to each other. Another idea. What about a literal doom which slowly comes closer and you can see it on the horizon, like a storm or giant of some sort. I always thought it would be, and I still don't know what game system and how to implement this, but I always thought it would be pretty. Yes, I know somebody's going to steal this idea, but I don't know how to implement it. I always thought it'd be cool to have a role playing game that literally states that the the pri the day behind you is coming to destroy you. So humanity has left a place, a location, and they've come across the ocean and they've landed on the shores of a distant world. And seen on the horizon is something that is literally annihilating everything in their path. And so the entire concept is you have to keep moving. And the player characters have a community, a nomadic tribe, a caravan, something, people that they're taking care of. And they're just pushing through the environment. And all of society is just traveling in one direction away from whatever creeping doom there is. Now, could that creeping doom be undead? Could it be tidal waves or storms or, I don't know, necrotic nothing? Like in a never-ending story in Atreyu? Like, could it just be an ever-sweeping black wall of nothingness that destroys and you have to run ahead of it? I don't know. But I think literally a world of nothing but exploration. And now, could you hunker down and survive it? I don't think that would work because then that kind of goes counter to it. But yeah, I think that would be kind of cool. Yeah, yeah, yes, very much Oregon Trail. Yeah, 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 yeah. I sure am. Yeah, I just think it because it would be. I mean, the hard part would be you're always going somewhere new. But I think tying in some kind of simplified resource management into it and communal, like I was almost thinking of a stress survival doom supply resource management thing combined with the nomadic tribe of like loss and things like, I don't know. Yeah, yeah, the Langoliers story. Yeah, Stephen King story, Langoliers. For those who don't know, the Langoliers was slightly a time travel movie show where they got trapped slightly in the past because the past kept getting destroyed by the Langoliers, and then they advance to the future slightly or whatever, and then come to find out that the past is always being destroyed. Vince says, "You are kidding me, DJ, or are you? This is the concept I had for my shaman deck building RPG. The idea was that they were following the god of creation and fleeing from the god of destruction. I did not know that you did that. That's awesome. The home base is a magical caravan. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would love it. It doesn't have to be magical. I mean, in my head canon, I was like, it doesn't have to be magical. Mm-mm-mm. I imagine you could have an undead reverent variant, the Doom marked. They could come back to life not as undead, but as normal, but as doomed Final Destination types who die violently every 13 hours. People would avoid them as cursed like a Jonah on a ship. Ooh, now now okay. I'm a liking this, right? Because one of the things that um, made classic mummy stories, talking about undead, was that as they approached you, you were the cursed one. And it might not be that the air quotes undead are dangerous and horrible, although they are, okay? But it could be that because they're there, so many terrible things happen. And how funny would it be, Final Destination wise, to have these undead reverent wraiths. It doesn't matter what undead you pick, but to have them appear and through a comedy of errors of sorts, very lethal, but comedy of errors, that dangerous, terrible Rube Goldberg type things start happening in and around the players in their environment that makes it dangerous for them to be there, right? Um, stealing something from a game called Feng Shui, which is an action thing. A concept is for action, cinematic action is if your end result is simple, then how you get to that end result, the path you take to it can be as complex as you want. So an example could be you could have a random list of like something falls on a player, something tries to light the player on fire, something traps the player, something um, uh, destroys one or more things the player is holding, like acidically or something. And then the Rube Goldberg complex thing happens. So like the undead walks through the city town and people are like slamming doors and the PCs are like, drawing weapons. We're going to get in a fight. Roll initiative. It's an undead. And then you roll the die and it's like something large falls on a player character. And the undead slowly shambles through the city, its foot pulling a rope. That rope um, pulls a barrel. The barrel stacked neatly on the side of the building start to roll. That barrel, rolls into um, rolls past horses. The horses are startled by the barrels. The horses start to run. When they run, their ropes grab around the foundation of a building. It pulls on that building. It starts to make that building crumble. Make a deck save to keep from being crushed by the crumbling building or something like that, right? Like I don't know. I pulled that out of my ass. Not the most amazing thing, but you could do that. You could do like you could write a Mad Libs where you feel like give me a noun, give me a location, give me a name. Mm. Vince says, isn't there a game where there is some kind of all-destroying wall closing in, and you are some kind of small animal fleeing from it? I don't know. No. For some reason, it reminds me of. I don't know why, but I don't believe it's in the role-playing game Root, but it makes me think of Root or Mouse Guard or something. Um, Mike says, I had an idea for a magic item request that it is to escort a ring of doom. Mechanically, it makes every roll a nat one, but narratively, it causes you to slip or for bad luck just happen to you. Ouch. Players, cursed items aren't what they used to be, but that used to be a thing where cursed items and the PCs were like, we need to find a rust monster. And we hate rust monsters. The challenge then becomes to escort it to the safest and risk-free way possible. Oh, okay, I get it. Leave nothing to chance. Don't cross the rope bridge when you can slowly take the longer cliffside path. That game is the Eternal Cylinder. Didn't know that. Yeah, that would be pretty. Like, what if you have a group of players, 5 players, and the doom is no matter what die rolls happen, somebody gets a nat one. You get to choose who suffers the nat one, but somebody gets a nat one, and everyone's like, "Oh shoot, we're climbing." All right, barbarian, you get the nat one. The barbarian player's like, "Don't." Oh, guys, that would be horrible. Yeah, everyone has to make a skill check, but on the day of doom, somebody takes a nat one. Oh no! Every die roll is either there's nothing in between. It's all crit fails and crit successes. That would be horrible. Another way of the doom again, talking about yeah, find the giant lava drake and get it to eat the ring, and then something bad happens to it. It gets eaten by an even bigger predator, and then it gets eaten by an even bigger predator, and then the Tarrasque comes out and eats it, and then something comes by and uses the Tarrasque for earrings. That's a shout out to a Magic the Gathering card, an old one, a ridiculous one. What was it? Power and toughness of 99. Pretty ridiculous. But anyway, the Doom might also again, let's go back to the being marked or the oracles or the faithful or something. It individuals within the world. Let's say you're doing a fetch quest, and the players may need to get to specific individuals before the doom befalls them, or the players are the ones who bring about the doom, and they want to avoid the idea that they will bring about the doom, especially if you are the storyteller or the narrator or the warden or something, the keeper who knows your player characters really well. Like if they're straight up murder hobos, and then everyone, the oracles tell everybody basically like, yeah, it will be strangers who come out from a distant land, each of them unique, a special snowflake, and they will bring doom to all. Right? And then all of a sudden the player characters are like, why is everybody staring at us? And the constabulary is like, we're going to have to arrest you for at least 24 hours. And like, so everyone thinks of the PCs as enemies. The PCs find out. And then, of course, what happens? Murder hoboism, right? Or something like that. Yeah, having a literal cursed ring bearer. Like, no, you wear the ring. No, you wear the ring. No, 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 you wear the ring. Yeah, I do like having reaction to it. They're playing the hot potato with the Nat 1 Doom ring. Yeah. Yeah, as they're having to dodge traps and hazards and ambushing goblins and stuff. Yeah, you rolled the Nat 1 to be found out from the stealth check. No, you do it. Yeah. Yeah, someone goes first, and when he is safe, someone tries to throw the ring to him and rolls a Nat 1 doing it. Did you just drop the net? Did you just drop the ring of doom down the crevice? Dude, why'd you throw it to me? Why didn't you catch it? You should have caught it. You're the one cursed. No, you're the one. Then all of a sudden it's like, why is the mountain shaking? It's like, oh no, the mountain rolled a nat 1. It's going to miss the ground. I don't know. But it would be pretty ridiculous. Although it does sound like if the player characters now let's be honest, players really hate cursed items because no one wants to feel bad about it. But it could be the MacGuffin as long as they have the MacGuffin. The Doom, much like dragons and other creatures that have lair actions, have an effect on the environment. Could be the player characters are carrying around or have something or are marked by something that brings doom to other people. And they're like, yeah, you need to, the oracle's like, you guys need to go there to accomplish the thing because you got to get out of our place. So maybe the player characters aren't rolling nat ones, but everybody around them is. And yeah, trees spontaneously combusting. Yeah, that's the player's fault. Earthquakes that haven't been felt for hundreds of years. Yeah, it's their fault. That volcano that was dormant, it's not anymore. Um, Wandering monsters that are in your realm that keep going after the player characters. Yeah, it's their fault. And eventually, the player characters realize it and they look around like, oh, wait, it is our fault. Oh, we didn't even realize that. We were having fun gathering experience points and stuff. Vince says, how fun would it be to use this thing creatively? They don't have to destroy the ring, but give it somehow to the big bad evil guy to defeat him. That's now, yes, that would be pretty cool. Like, how I want anybody who's watching this at all at this point, I wonder if there has ever been a time where the heroes are literally trying to give a magic item to the bad guy, right? Like, please take it. and maybe the player characters have to put on a good show. Like the players are like, oh, this thing is horrible. But we have to hold on to it so that emissaries see us with it, are convinced it's the most powerful thing in the nation, send that information back to the big bad evil guy, who then sends people to come capture the PCs, bring them in front of the you know, bad guy, and then have the bad guy steal. Because if the PCs are trying to get rid of it, an intelligent enemy's like, yeah, they don't really like that, right? But it would be pretty interesting to make a twist like the PCs are going like, okay, let's roll some dice. All right, so for 13 hours, we've got to pretend like this is the most powerful thing in the world, cover up the fact that we're suffering harm from it, and get the bad guy to bring us within reach of them to hand it over and then get the hell out of there, right? Oh man. Let's see. Let's get some images for the One Ring. Yeah. Oh shoot, I didn't want to go to eBay. I don't want to do that. That's fine. The One Ring. Spoilers. I think there was a scene in the new D&D movie where they sneakingly put magical shackles on the enemy mage that cancels her magic. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes. Which, why the hell not, right? Mike says 100%, especially if players can trade it to each other, as only willing creatures can pick it up. So they need to trick the big bad evil guy to take it. Like they can't. Like there's no way. There's no way to magically. The cursed item knows what's going on, right? Like it's like you can't mind control them. You can't magically pin the person down. They have to willingly take it. And they got to show it, got to prove it too. Like it's the most powerful thing in the world. As the wizard's holding it, going like, "This is going to make me fail my spell checks." Oh no! Our DM decided to use Dungeon Crawl Classics for spell failure. It's like, and the wizard's like, speaking out the side of his neck, like, "All right, listen, guys, listen." You cast your magic because mine is going to fail, but you have to convince them to make it look like I'm casting my magic. And the bard's like, "Don't worry about it, wizard. I got you." Like, you're not as good with magic as I am. Yeah. Oh shit. I always wanted one of these one rings as a ring. I don't know why. I know they'd all be corny and chintzy, but I always thought when those Lord of the Rings movies came out, I was like, I want one that glows in the dark. Yes. Yes, yes. I'm an idiot. All right. Vince says, reminds me of the wands in Harry Potter, where you somehow become the owner of a wand if you disarm it from the previous owner. Yeah, which I think is pretty sure is a rule in the JKR added in the last book. Like it's not even just stealing it. Like you've got to like disarm it from the person for the other person to take it. Um, kind of a modified form of attunement, right? Like it's not just that you just found it, but like you must remove it from the other person, whether it's powerful or cursed. And which would be pretty interesting if on the day of doom, I wonder if this could be a rationalization for a political overturn in a nation state where the players are like, why? Man, there's a lot of political upheaval. And really what's happening is people, a person or group get upon the throne. They realize that taking that throne is horrible. And they're hoping that they're almost encouraging others to depose them so they can get the hell out of there. They're like, I'm taking the throne, knocking them off the throne's chair. Like, you get out of here. The person's like, yes, I've been defeated. And they like smile on their way out the door, like, woo, I escaped that. Um, the on the day of doom, it could be that a powerful entity or king or faction or coven or something is like um it would be pretty interesting to have a predictive element from an enemy that everyone knows is like you shouldn't trust what they're saying, but at the same time they're correct. George R. R. Martin plays a lot with that in the Game of Thrones in the Song of Ice and Fire, that oftentimes the people who speak the most truth are the ones we hate the most. And there's a big element of that in, especially in the shows. If you actually go back and look, you're like, wait, Joffrey was right. Wait, you know, the Boltons were right. Like, oh no, yeah, yeah. Mm-mm-mm. About that. Oh, about items that are connected to Doom, we haven't talked about Pandora's box yet. Yeah. When I got to know this fact, I was like, bullshit, Harry disarmed so many people already. We must be swimming in wands at this point. Yeah, yeah. That I know when someone comes up with a rule in canon and you go, wait a minute, because if you go back to here, not unless he's got just a box of Pandora's box full. So um let's see. Let's look this up. Let's see. Let's see if we can find some. Yes, I did mean Pandora's box there, computer. Uh, Pandora's box. Okay, so it says Pandora's box is an artifact in Greek mythology connected with the myth of Pandora in Hesiod's 700 BC poem Works and Days. Hesiod related that curiosity led her to open a container left in the care of her husband, thus releasing curses upon mankind. And okay, um, let's see if we can go to this. Um, Myth of Pandora's Box is considered one of the most descriptive myths of human behavior in Greek mythology. Ancient Greeks used this myth not only to instruct themselves about the weaknesses of humans, but also to explain several misfortunes of the human race. Pandora was given a box or jar called pithos in Greek. Gods told her that the box contained special gifts from them, but she was not allowed to open the box ever. Then Hermes took her to Epimetheus, brother of Prometheus, to be his wife. Prometheus had advised Epimetheus not to accept anything from the gods, but he saw Pandora and was astonished by her beauty. Thus, he accepted her right away. That happens a lot. So, I wonder on the day of doom, um, this could be a pretty interesting fetch quest, right? Like, what if the box was already opened? Why is it doing that? Oh. Okay, I got to stop sharing this. Okay. Um, what if there was a what if the box was already opened, whatever the Doom box, right? And that's an easy storyline to like get everything back. There's a bunch of television shows that were based around that. House 13 is one of the first ones that come to mind, where all of the dooms of humanity are released on this day of doom, and it's imperative to try to get as many of those back because on the day of doom, maybe those dooms are the players are able to see them. You can sense them or detect them, or magically the oracles, or guides are sent with the player characters, or a object is given to the player characters. Use the Mage Stone to find the dooms and bring them back, and stuff them back in the box for the next year when the Day of Dooms are, because maybe those dooms are built into society, but they are personified on the Day of Doom. You know. Yes. Yeah. Mufa's like, yeah, experiencing my own day of doom, coming back to work after a week off. Yeah. Mike Marin says Pandora's box is fantastic as a magical MacGuffin or the end of the quest, especially if you can convince the players that there might be a very powerful magical item inside. Okay, let's be honest. How long do we think the players are going to go if you tell them here's a mystery box, don't open it? I, how long do you really think that's going to go on? And imagine everyone's trying to open the box and the PCs have to stop other people from opening the box. And you yourself are like, I have no idea what's in the box. Mm-mm-mm. It would require a subtle touch so the players don't just go, well, the DM is obviously trying to trick us. Maybe if you make it an honest coin flip between doom and great power. Oh, shit. I. That sounds horribly amazing. At the end of an adventure, the PCs are like, all right, DM, we never open the box. And you go, guess what? You have to make a single coin flip. And if it comes up heads, it is, listen, I'm gonna turn the book to you. You get to pick one of the most powerful magic items, right? Like you get that Holy Avenger. You get, I don't know, a machine of Lum the Mad. You get the Sword of Kos or Eye of Vecna or whatever. Or it is Ultimate Doom. It's a 50-50 coin flip. And could you imagine flipping the coin and then taking like those little things that you roll dice in, the cups you roll dice in, then you flip it over top of the coin before it settles down and you go, all right guys, I'll see you next week. And they're like, no, you're not going to let us see it? Nope. Oh, shoot. Yeah, it would be a neat way to start a campaign. Open Pandora's box, and the campaign is to reverse the bad effects it had. I like that. Because you can make that real simple, right? Like, monster got out of the box. Go get the monster. Bring the monster back. Or you could play with like a person. I don't know. A person is fulfilled with their manifest destiny, and a zero level NPC the players loved goes on to become this like brutalistic warlord, and they're like, but the old lady made pastry treats and we loved it, and she's just like, I'm fulfilling my destiny because of something that came to her from Pandora's box, and she's like, I'm making pastries to dominate the world. Everyone eats my pastries. Oh man. I think that's a great idea. Yeah, wouldn't it be kind of cool to have a campaign where all items the players can use are somehow cursed, and they have to find ways to exploit the curses to win? That takes a subtle touch, but I like it. Especially if the how do I say this? The Let's be honest, cursed items are kind of bullshit if you really think about it, right? It's either a great item or a bad item, but there's nothing in between. But the idea of mixing the two, where the player characters find these great, powerful items, but with the expressed idea that they are also accepting the downfall, so they are themselves dooming themselves as they're trying to stop a greater doom. So the flaming magic sword that's intelligent, that gives the warrior great ability, might be exhausting, right? Like if they fight with this blade too long, they catch on fire. Dumb, but I'm pulling it out of my ass. And the flame on the blade burns ever brighter, but it also will burn your soul, or something like that. So the fighter's like, okay, it's round 4, and I'm rolling like an extra 4 dice of damage, but it's been 3 rounds and I'm suffering 3 dice of those damage of that damage, right? Like I hit, but I'm getting like half that damage to me or whatever. I don't know. I'm getting levels of exhaustion or something like that. Like that might be a thing. Or every time I strike with the sword, it's like the phoenix. I will go up in a ball of flame and appear somewhere else, which sounds cool. Oh wow, the sword makes me misty step, but I don't have control of how far I go and where I go and when it happens. I strike again at the armored carapace of the dragon turtle or whatever, and it's like, okay, you hit it and roll dice. You then disappear, no opportunity to attack, and you transport yourself 60 feet behind a rock or something as you go up in flames, and another bout geyser of flame appears behind a rock, and the warrior's like, oh shoot, okay, I run back into battle again. No, you can't. The dragon turtle's on the sandbar. You got to go across, wade through the water or something. I don't know. Yeah, Deadman says Friday the 13th, the series, a TV show about hunting down cursed items. Yeah, I was thinking of Warehouse 13, but yep, Friday the 13th was a show that did the exact same thing. Vince is also kind of neat for idea for a campaign, giving the players some legendary artifact, and the campaign is to make sure nobody takes it from them. Sounds like a sacred flame from the heroine's labyrinth. Yeah, I like that. I like that very much. Where the players have a thing. I mean, we don't often see that as a goal. Like we often see heroes go out into the wild to go collect things, to do other amazing things. Not too often is it the opposite, where players need to travel to keep a thing away from something else. Yep. The guy's cursed sword that causes tangling vines can be burnt with the guy's armor that burns those nearby. Yeah. I mean, it could keep twisting. It's the oh man, I hate the fact that when I use this weapon, I can do massive amounts of damage, but it'll start to burn me. Except when I'm start getting entangled by vines, which lets me use the thing. So maybe it's actually great for me to use it. Right? I love items that where the choice is in the player's hands, whether it for good or ill. Right? Like maybe the warriors like, I need to alight myself on fire to become like the unto the like the phoenix to rise again or something, where the enemy thinks I've died and I appear on the other side of the wall or whatever. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, there are certain curses in fiction which are actually just a power boost, but are disguised as really bad curse. Like, hey, I've got horns and I'm so miserable, but now I can fly and breathe fire. Yeah, exactly, exactly. It's very much an X-Men thing, right? Like, oh, what was it, Angel, who's like very good looking and rich and has like large angelic like wings. I can't believe I got wings, and everyone's like, asshole, you've got wings, right? Yeah, the X Men mean there's nothing to cure because we're all fine the way we are. Yeah, from Storm, who can shoot lightning, to Rogue, who kills anyone she touches. Yep, yep, absolutely. Although, I miss classic X Men where their abilities were the curse and the gift at the same time. Like Wolverine was always his rage, and his long life. Like, I'm going to outlive you guys. I don't really want to get connection. Or, don't piss me off because if I lose control, I miss that kind of thing. A Storm had that for a little while where she had like claustrophobia, and it's like, her emotions made the storms around her, the weather around her shift and change, i.e., the name Storm. Um, Vince says, I mean, the legendary artifact campaign could be about eliminating the biggest threats for the artifact. Maybe you even need some of the limited charges to destroy the enemies for good. I wonder. Yeah, I mean, what if a whole society was built around destroying a great artifact? The players get the artifact and they realize, oh shoot, we really need this artifact. Like, we thought we were part of the group that was supposed to destroy it, and they realize actually the artifact. Like, I'm just making something up. I'm going to call it like the harpoon. Just so this great magical harpoon is used to pin the Tarask to the ground to never let it rise again. But for some reason, people think, well, we've got to destroy this spear-like weapon because I don't know, it's going to crack the earth. It we know in the past histories it cracked the earth itself and ravaged the world. And to cure the world, we've got to destroy the spear. And it's like, no, the spear was actually holding the Tarask down. The Tarask was the thing that ravaged the earth. You don't want to destroy it, but someone pulls it, and the players get it, and they don't want to destroy it because they have to use it to go after Tarask. But everyone's thinking like, no, you own the spear. The spear controls the Tarask. It's your fault. I don't know. Yeah, they become doomed during the campaign. Wolverine's real curse is his healing factor. He gets hurt so much he can heal it. Yeah, in that has been used as a twist. People who like heal from things can't be hurt by those things. Sometimes they don't feel anything anymore. There was a villain group called the Enola Gay, where there was a character, one of the female leader of the team was like nigh invulnerable. I know I'm being silly. That's a tick. But anyway, she was nigh invulnerable, and her limitation was she couldn't feel anything. And she was always pissed off because she was criminalized because she was pissed off because the thing that made her invulnerable and long lived and nigh indestructible prevented her from feeling things, which made her not have feelings, made her apathetic, and she was jealous of people who had those feelings and things like that. Yep. Vince says they become doomed during the campaign. Ooh. They keep the great artifact away from everyone, but come to find out that they bring about the doom of the world. They shatter the earth itself to bring about a new world, and then all of a sudden the let me do a little something ASMR, and then the game master's like, "World's dead. Give me an ink pen. Give me a Google Doc. We're going to start this all over again. The shattered world." PCs are like, "What? Wait, what? No, 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 no. Really, you shattered the world." And they're like, "Wait, okay, say that again." Yeah. Is it by Michael Reeves? Yeah, 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 yeah. The Shattered World. Mm-mm-mm. That's a real book series. Um, there was, what did you say? Sorry, there was a Bond villain that couldn't feel pain because of some injury. It made him hard to kill, but as you say, cold, apathetic, violent, and irrationally destructive. That would be. I wonder if you could play a trick where villains, doomed villains, are themselves doomed because they got what they desired, and that in and of itself is the doom that brings the thing about. So what I mean is a cold, let's say a lich, a person goes through the rituals and they do the they perform the let's go to Amazon. Let's see what this says. Uh, there's some imagery here or something like that. Hardcover, 250 bucks. Holy shit. Oh, that's got to be an original. 200, what? 10 used from 20. That's got to be a misprint. Nope, one new from 250 bucks. Oh, that's a collector right there. Wow. Sorry. So sorry. Sorry, for those who don't know, the Shattered World series by Michael Reeves, when was this? 1984, is literally a world in which um it is literally a world in which the world shattered and there's floating islands, and then there's like there are real dragons, and then there's people who let's see if there are dragon ships using the bones and skin of the dragons, and there's imagery of like there's these dark cities that are underneath the floating islands, and there's even a place where one floating island of continent-sized island floats over another one, and the shadow it has are where like demons live and stuff like that. Because they used to live in the underworld, but then the world shattered, and so now they're above ground, but they live in shadow and stuff like that. But anyway, enough of that. Um, it would be interesting that the villains came about because they kind of got what they wanted, like an evil lich, but then the lich is almost beseeching the characters like, listen, I got this thing, but could you help me not could you help me gain back my humanity and erase my lichhoodism? I don't know. Vince says, I have read a comic book where a character with an incredible healing factor doomed herself when she realized that her organs grow back rapidly. She did donor organs all day, every day. That's nasty. I love that. I love that. All right, and a member of the squad says, Renard in the world is not enough. He had a bullet stuck in his brain that killed his sense of pain, but it will someday also spell his doom. Ah, okay, okay. Like, imagine uh, in Greek mythology, a lot of our classic evil things did come about because of people who were like arrogant or vain or misinterpretations and things. And I wonder if you could shape like our big bad evils, like dragons, vampires, liches, evil wizards, cults, and things, and come to find out, like, ooh, this Pandora's box on this day of doom, we opened it many years ago and got what we wanted, and now we need to get rid of it. And they kind of help or use the power of these individuals to almost become allies with them, or at least take their power to undo a thing. But everybody else is convinced, kind of rightly so, that, oh, the player character is going to try to kill the vampire, to steal the vampire's influence and power. And the PCs are kind of like, yeah, but we need this. You could also do a post Doom campaign, like post apocalypse version in fantasy. I think there are some games that do that, like Shadow of the Demon Lord. There are many. Listen, we love ourselves some post-apocalypse, right? Where on the day of doom, this is when we, I don't know, not necessarily honor, but remember the thing that brought about the doom to the world. I have one in the back. It was the Savaged World of Cryphoth or something. The Ravaged World of Cryphoth. and Ravaged World of Cryfoth. Uh, I think it's Cryfoth. Cryfoth. Yeah, 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 yeah. There it is. Quick preview. Will let. Yeah, no. Give me an image. And there we go. Yeah, that Dice on Ice made that. It's um what's the other one? A Dead Man's Guide to Dragon Grin is another one. Um, Even better than villains that got their iconic rewards, mirrors of the players that are twisted by getting exactly what they wanted, dark future reflections of their backgrounds and flaws. Ooh, ooh, all right, okay. So you as the DM, game master, storyteller, flame tender, whatever, right? Narrator. So you start describing this undefined but evil on the horizon. There's always a big evil on the horizon, but really you start to give the players more details. But what you're actually doing is every success the players have, there's an equal dark reflection of their success by the evil that's growing further away from them. So let's say one of the guys is like, "I'm a great paladin with a smite," and you describe an evil raven-haired witch or something who uses a dark blade, the blade made of smoke and shadow, right? And they're just like, "Ooh, oh, she must be evil," right? And then the bardic characters like, um, "I have songs and I have battle hymns and something," and then you say, "Ah, but there is a known poet in the world who speaks words, but those words make people's eyes and ears bleed with the imagery placed in their heads or something, right?" And then when the players finally confront them, all you did was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, what level is your character? 17th, and you had what's your armor class? 37? Okay, I'm gonna write down 37. Okay, that would be awesome. I forgot about doing something like that. You just basically photocopy. I know you guys are young people out there. The old man's talking about photocopying. But anyway, you photocopy the character sheets, reskin them to make them look different and act different, and then you're like, "I didn't cheat. I just use your own stats against you." It gives the players more to interact with and think about than just saying, "Aren't my villains great and interesting?" Yep, because they're controlled dark reflections. Like the Day of Doom is a reveal that, guess what, you're the doom of the world. Like it's been you this entire time. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Vince is like, "Ooh, I had this in my Numenera campaign. There was a character who did replace his flesh with metal all the time because he was slowly becoming a mutant and hated mutants." Wow. When they visited the future, they found a version of him who was just a robot and told him just don't do it. What if the players didn't realize that they've done all this before and they created the Day of Doom was stories told to young people, these ancient legends. The PCs are like, "Hey, we're going from zero to hero." Come to find out, they themselves did this the entire time. And when they meet the group of evil, like, I don't know, whatever, like the Council of Seven or something, because we've got 7 player characters. And when they finally get there, they're like, the evil's almost tired. Like, "We did all this to summon you, to get you here. We hoped you would make different decisions. We hoped you would grow. We know that on the day of doom, we could never interfere because we've done this, you know, a dozen times before to try to influence you, but now we decided to stay away. And maybe the evils that we caused, they were in honor of you so that you would take over," or something. But you left blood and gore in your wake. You've devastated whole communities trying to get to us. We could never stop this. Later in the campaign, he cured his mutant status and became a mutant inquisitor, trying to cure all mutants in the steadfast. Ooh. Numenera is one of those games that anyway, if you look up RPG a day, I think it's hashtag RPG a day, or is it RPG a day 2023? Anyway, I'll look it up in a minute. One of them is the greatest role playing game you've never played, like the greatest one you own or never played, or something like that. And there's a bunch of them. Numenera is one of those. I've never played it. I've seen it played. I've discussed it. I don't have the book, but I think I have a PDF around here somewhere. It might poignantly convince the min maxers that obsession is a source of doom. Yeah, I'm obsessed with getting my stat to the highest. Dex is a killer stat. My Dex is 27. Vince says, if you ever want to play Numenera, DBJ, just ask, dudes. I need my limited gaming group that I had, which is online, shattered apart. So I need another one. Let's see if I can find. Let's see if I can actually find not Numenera. Oh shit! You guys just brought it up in my head. Oh, anyway, we've gone too long on this. Guys, thank you very much for being part of the Day of Doom. I really appreciate it. You guys know, you'll see that there is an interview that's coming up with Douglas A. Burton, the person who is the writer who came up with the Heroine's Labyrinth, I don't want to say antithesis, the almost a mirror image of the hero's journey. Through a course of events, reached out to talk to me, and I'm like, hell yeah, let's do an interview. Let's talk. It's going to take place at 6 p.m. EST, Eastern Standard Time, so it's going to be pretty late for those that are overseas. But it's going to be on the channel. It's going to be long. I'm assuming about 2 hours, because we're going to talk about the hero's journey versus the heroine's labyrinth, the journey versus the labyrinth. Also going to talk a little bit about, because that's going to be emblematic of the book, because Joseph Campbell's Hero with a Thousand Faces is, I mean, that's like intrinsic in literature and media and storytelling. And for somebody to come along and go, raise their hand and go, actually, there's another framework that we're kind of ignoring. I think that's really cool. But if you're a writer, you're a world creator, and this is going to dig a little bit deeper into the weeds about the hero's journey. And you guys know I've done the Heroine's Labyrinth on the channel. I think I did at least a week of it. It's going to be pretty cool. Mufa says, well, if you want to start a new online group, I'm pretty sure there's no shortage of players and GMs here. Yeah, all you guys are. I hope it's a great interview too. Thank you there, Mufa. Yeah, it's going to be pretty late for anyone that's not in the States. But I will say that what else inspired me was that I did the thing about the Heroine's Labyrinth, and it found the attention of Heath over at Heath's Geekverse, who then spoke with Doug, Mr. Burton, who then reached out to me. So it was just kind of like, wait, who, wait, what, who? And then came back, which, by the way, for those who also don't know, let me share this out here, because I have done a terrible job. Cool name. Cool name RPG. Cool name goes here. There we go. There have been a number of play tests being given, and video essays. They're about a half an hour long, and talking about how the play testing is going, the rules available to it. So for those who don't know, during the OGL debacle fiasco back in January and February, there was a Kickstarter done for creating a brand new role-playing game. And these are the designers that are part of the game: Crystal, Robin D. Laws, Matt Forbeck, Stephen S. Long is over here, Kenneth Height is in here, Eloy Lasanta's in here. I'm kind of stuck in here with a bunch of other people. Oh, and Casey Stevens is part of the design group. And the playtest material is being released. and publicly, openly. This is going to be a free game given out to people, and it's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. I can't believe I'm included with this. My part of it will be when the explorative part comes along. But I would suggest everybody come and take a look at Cool Name Goes Here RPG. And the funny thing is, wasn't initially going to be the name. It was literally a placeholder name, but everyone loves the name of a CNGH. Like Cool Name Goes Here. I think there's even T-shirts available to it. So yeah. Yeah, Vince says in my current groups, all my players are GMs too. There's something cool about that. All right, Mufa. Later, everybody, take it easy. I got to get out of here. I'm running late. Thank you very much, there, M. I'm going to go out with the heart emoji, guys. Thank you very much for being part of the show. Tomorrow, I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. You'll find out. I'll surprise myself. But anyway, everyone, have a great day. Thank you very much for being part of the show. I really appreciate it. I prefer this day of series to just be, because let's be honest, the whole damn channel is about an idea you can steal. So let's hope there's much theft. I got to make a new intro video too. Maybe I'll work on that. Got to write some notes down. Anyway, guys, have a great one. I'll see you later. Out.